But no, we're super thrilled to have you guys. And Harry can't be here today because he actually had to postpone his hip replacement surgery, which means he had it day before yesterday, Jordan. So
Yeah.
he's still recovering.
Hip replacement sounds like he's a candidate for dad strength.
Yeah.
Yeah. His second one.
All right. I'd like to welcome to BeerNet Radio the founders of Dad Strength, Craig Carey and Ryan Kutscher. Based out of D.C., Dad Strength Brewing pegs itself as America's first dedicated low ABV craft brewery. And they got an investment from some of the Shark Tank crew last year and have hit the ground running as a mid-strength beer category seems to be taking shape. I believe we spoke briefly, and I believe Dad Strength is expanding in some East Coast markets with some big wholesalers. And Ryan, I'm gonna put you on the spot here. I think you guys said you would do as much as 100,000 cases this year.
I mean, it's conceivable. I think when we said that, we probably didn't realize how much work was going to go into that.
Right. So you take it back now.
I think yeah. I mean, I think you're actually touching on something we just talked about. It's absolutely conceivable, but I think you're looking at the entire organization right now.
Yeah.
And so we've been able to come really fast, really far through the use of, being hyper disciplined and using AI and doing everything we can. But I think what we didn't account for was the fact that growth is both expensive and very hard operationally. So while there's demand that gets us to 100,000 cases, I think the discipline probably keeps us closer to, I don't know, between 50 and 60.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
I think that would be a real win for us. So yeah, I think we're learning the business really fast.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that we want to just be very conscientious of not getting out over our skis. And so while we make these outrageous claims, and I love to make an outrageous claim,
you're in good company.
I think that there are rules to this business that you don't want to break, and we've broken a few, and it hurts. So
yeah,
we're sort of, I think we're trying to be realistic while being aggressive. So that's probably where since the Shark Tank episode, kind of coming back down to earth a little bit.
Right. Well, and I think a lot of people would agree that slower growth is stickier growth. And we do want to get to talk about Shark Tank and everything else. But first, kind of, I think there's a lot of people out there who don't know the whole story, how you guys came to found Dad Strength and this sort of thing. So bring us up to speed, your backgrounds, how you came to it, and where we are now.
Well, it started with a 2 IPA hangover.
Yeah.
And in biology. So Ryan and I are old friends. We've known each other almost, 25, 30 years, and both older dads. And it's probably late 30s when all of a sudden I was trying to basically enjoy something I love, which is craft beer, which just doesn't love me the same way anymore. I saw non-alcoholic craft beer start to gain a foothold in the market. Thought that was super interesting. I picked up Athletic. And then next thing you know, I grabbed my favorite IPA, which is still old trusty Sierra Nevada Pale Ale. And I would mix them 50-50 in the same glass and found that there was this perfect sweet spot right in the middle, 2.9%, could catch a buzz, never caught a hangover, crush a few without getting crushed. And that's when I texted my old fellow entrepreneur and friend Ryan and said, look what I'm doing.
Yeah, it was an opportune time because I was like, he's like, you're not going to believe this. I'm mixing these beers together. And I texted him back. I was like, you're not going to believe this. I'm mixing Heineken and Heineken non-alcoholic together. And my thinking was literally like, well, it'll still taste like a Heineken. And now you've probably seen in the UK, they're making these 60-40 things with Guinness. And it's just like, it was just this like light bulb moment of, maybe we're insane or maybe this is actually a genius idea. And I think, there's always been 3-2 beer.
Yeah.
There's always been this kind of low ABV beer, whether you're in Utah or, blue laws that you're buying at gas stations. But it was always this watered down version of something that you actually wanted to drink. And the idea for us was like, well, what if 3-2 beer didn't suck? What if it was super delicious, And it solves this other problem because especially when you get to be our age, right? It's like mid 40s, you got kids, you're trying to be a little bit more health conscious. You're definitely watching your waistline if you can, because dad bod is real.
Yeah.
And the fact of the matter is, we still love craft beer. We just can't drink like we used to, hangovers and all the other things that we've mentioned. And now it's like we've got this time machine where you can.
Hmm.
And that's been the guiding light since we launched the brand. And I think that resonates with people.
Right, right, right. One more question, that begs the question, and one more from me. I know Jordan has many, but what is the exact occasion for this? Because, you could have a regular beer and then zebra stripe with athletic or water or something like that. So what does mid-strength, as we're calling this segment, answer that nothing else does, especially when you have your Mick Ultras of the world or your garage beers of the world, right, that are lower ABV? I guess they're not as full flavored, but where do you guys see the majority of the volume occasions taking place for this segment?
Yeah.
Right into the trap. This is it's 2 o'clock. This is an occasion.
There
I
you
can
go.
have an IPA and still function versus you give me a 6-7% IPA, I'm going to want to take a nap. But Ryan, sound like you were saying something.
Yeah, I mean, I think you kind of answered the question in the question, which is like you call it zebra striping. It's like I'm going to drink a regular beer and then I'm going to drink a non-alcoholic beer and I'm going to mix these two beers in my bloodstream. Well, we were mixing them in the same glass, so we were skipping a step. We don't call it zebra striping; we call it malternating.
Hmm.
And it's like,
Well,
okay, that's a pretty good strategy, but what if you could just have one product that got you the exact same solution? Now I don't have to buy non-alcoholic and an IPA, and it gets you to the same exact place. Plus, it's super tasty, as you point out. Like nothing wrong with Michelob Ultra; it's the number one beer in the country for a reason. But if you like full flavored IPAs, there's nothing. Even Founders All Day IPA, great beer, 4.7%, something like that. I mean, it's actually significantly more alcohol in
Hmm.
that beer. And so what we're trying to basically communicate to people is like the joys of a light buzz, you know, it's a beautiful thing.
Yeah,
And
it's
this
like
is,
a 2.5 milligram gummy is the perfect THC level and 2.9 in alcohol. But I mean, Ryan nailed it with Founders All Day. That was branded as a session. 4.7, that's 60% more alcohol than a dad's drink. And I think it clocks in at like 140 calories too. So I'm with Ryan. My metabolism shot, so all those calories matter.
Yeah,
yeah,
that's true. Calories too.
yeah.
calories is
Well,
a big deal. We're less calories than Michelob Ultra. So
yeah.
um, it
Less
adds up,
less calorie, Ryan.
one
One.
less.
No,
But
they
I
all
mean,
matter.
like a hazy little thing, great beer. Our hazy launches next month. Hazy little thing's 240 calories for one of them. Like
Yeah.
Yeah.
that's quite a lot. You have three of those. A, you're going to be hungover, and B, it's like being hungover on the treadmill
Yeah.
Yeah.
because you got to work off, 750 calories.
Yeah. There's a reason that calorie count's not on the can, right? So,
Yeah.
but what about your consumer? What are you learning about your consumer base? You created this brand for, people like yourselves, but have you seen people, outside of people like y'all drinking the brand?
Yeah. So, I mean, when we came up with the name Dad Strength, the first question people asked us was like, well, what about moms? And the fact of the matter is, like, 70% of craft beer drinkers are men, but 50% of our customers are women.
Mhm.
And they really like it for all the same reasons, like metabolism, the way that they metabolize alcohol. Women seem to really love the fact that it's like, yeah, I actually do like beer, but I don't want 8% either because it's hitting me even harder. So we do see a lot of women that are drinking it, and kind of to the occasion question, I think a lot of what's fun about doing the tastings and kind of expanding the knowledge base around Dad Strength is you start talking about it and people start telling you when it's for.
Mm.
They're like,
Yeah.
"Oh my God, this is lawn mowing beer. This is after my run beer. This is perfect surfing beer. This is babysitting beer. This is all the," and they start just
Babysitting
basically.
beer.
Yeah, I mean, hey, I get it. I've got a toddler. Like they'll tell you, oh, we got a pizza party for my 3-year-old. I'm gonna bring this, or we're gonna have a watch party for Monday Night Football because I love Monday Night Football. I love drinking beer. Those two things don't, mix if I'm trying to show up on Tuesday. So they'll start kind of rattling off all these occasions, and that's been really fun to sort of see the light bulb go on.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think when we launched, the real answer was we didn't know. We just knew that we were desperate for this. I mean, we were hacking together a solution, and I always think that that's the first tell is like when you're basically mixing beers. It's like why are we doing this? And this can't be just me. Some people have to be having the same problem. And for us, DC was great because it's this small market. You're allowed to self-distribute. Next thing you know, we're standing in independent liquor stores doing demos, and we quickly were able to learn that it wasn't just us, that people were looking for this. And particularly when you walk down the IPA aisle and it's like 9, 8, 6, 7, 5. Maybe there's something, one of the really light IPAs and the high we mentioned founders all day, and then it goes to zero. And it's like there actually is this hole. And it's the market sitting there and it's like, are you going to put anything in this? I always joke it would be like having skim milk and whole milk. And there's like, no one was like, well, maybe we'll try 2% milk in the middle. So I think it was, pretty obvious that something needed to go in there. But it was nice to know that we weren't total weirdos, just mixing beers and hoping there'd be a full flavor, low ABV option.
Yeah. No, I mean, building off of that, it's not just you all that see this hole, and it's not just you all playing in this space. I mean, there's some very large craft brewers, getting in from FX Matt and Harpoon to AB's Goose Island. I guess why all of a sudden is it on everyone's radar? And do you think maybe the rise of non-alc and seeing like, okay, we have high ABV and now we have no ABV with a lot of options, that kind of put that into everyone's head?
Yeah, I mean, now you know where the goalposts are, right? It's like you got Voodoo Ranger over there, and then you've got non-alcoholic, and I think, I think a lot of these, a lot of things are conspiring together. I think you've got some cultural trends. I think we all went a little crazy during COVID.
Yeah.
Probably a lot of people went a little overboard. And then I think you had kind of the snapback of like, well, we're all going to go complete moderation. And then you saw the rise of dry January. And then I think this year we saw like, okay, now COVID's been gone for 3, 4 years. Dry January actually petered out a little bit. And I think, my personal journey was I didn't drink for 4 years. I just gave it up. And then I was like, a glass of wine with pizza is pretty good. A beer with a football game is pretty good. And so you kind of come back, but you're like, maybe I'll take a more moderate approach. And I think that's all happening. I think all of those things that you said are true. And so I think timing is of the essence, and I think consumer choice always wins. And I think consumers are looking for this. They just don't have a name for it. So they're zebra striping or malternating.
Yeah.
Malternating. Okay.
And now you're starting to see like, oh, maybe this is a real thing, and maybe we're the canary in the coal mine a little bit, but you're starting to see other entrants into the space, and it seems so obvious because if you look at Australia, if you look at the UK, if you look at Europe, if you look at Japan, they all have robust mid-strength beer categories. It's just like, what's the answer that's not? It's not the same approach as 3-2 beer always was. It's not a watered down version. It's like, could you actually make this really good?
Yeah. It would appear that a lot of the new low strength beers are coming out of the East Coast area. Is that sort of where the trend is kind of getting legs right now, or do I just kind of have tunnel vision on where I'm seeing things?
What's funny is, so I think we're all reading the same press. Gosh, we know Doug over as a beer aficionado, and he's a big believer in the low alc. And I agree, it's getting a lot of momentum, but especially suddenly. The thing is, we still aren't finding it on the shelf where we are, but we will have meetings where we're meeting with buyers regularly, and the buyers are like, "Oh, well, we're really excited about the no and low," and we always joke that right now it's a little bit like walking into a big and tall store, and there's no tall. And we know low is coming. It's here. We're big believers. I think one thing that makes Dad Strength super unique and how we're positioned is the IPA, which we're seeing a lot of people launch with. That was our first beer that we launched with 2 years ago. Took us a year before that to start developing it, and we were mixing beers for about 2 years before that. So this has actually been a 4 to 5 year journey for Ryan and I to try to get to this point. But it was really important when we launched and we first proved, let's not even call it was too early to say product market fit. It was maybe like Ryan and Craig aren't weirdos fit. People want this. We got our Juicy IPA out as fast as we could. The beers take a while to develop. Juicy took 6 months. The IPA took a year. Hazy took 8 months. We have a World Beer Cup gold medal winner brewer on our team that is fantastic. And we don't do these beers unless they're kind of our favorite versions of that style, just in the low 2.9 low calorie format. But we see a world where Dad Strength is able to get IPA or Juicy IPA or Hazy IPA comes out the first week of March. And then our product development cycle, we're already working on a 2.9% stout that's moving. We have codename Not IPA project. So,
You have anything that's not an IPA?
Yeah.
yeah,
No, we do.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I think there's that opportunity as the market moves and then the shelf space kind of starts to take shape of where it goes. Dad Strength's front and center with, it's like, here's this billboard and we have every single style done a little bit how Athletic did it. I think they had a really good blueprint. And I think what was said earlier was spot on. It's like Athletic and what non-alcoholic, what they pioneered is incredible. But as soon as they took hold, it reminds me of like, you can't have a crossover until you have a sedan and an SUV. And then all of a sudden you start taking the best features of both. And sometimes that middle category becomes the biggest. And we're both optimistic that in beer, it's going to be one of those. It'll be the crossover and not the iPad, but we'll see.
Yeah. Yeah, it sounds like retailers have been receptive. Can you name any retailers that have been particularly receptive? Are they cutting it into sets? And where does it go? Because I don't think you mentioned where it goes on the shelf.
Yeah, I think our original kind of vision, the grand vision was that there's this no and low section, and it should go, there's all the regular beer, there's the low, and there's the no. And I think that will materialize based on some conversations that we're having. We're kind of the ones pushing it. All those other entrants that you mentioned will probably help create that section, just like there is everywhere else in the world. But yeah, I mean, the retailers, like, I'm allowed to do this, but like, yeah, so Whole Foods, Trader Joe's, Giant, Safeway, Wegmans, Harris Teeter, Publix, Kroger, Walmart. I mean, it's kind of all of them that are like, that seems to make sense. I mean, I think they know the data, right? Like non-alcoholic is working. What we know is that over 93% of people that drink non-alcoholic beer drink alcohol. Mm-hmm. So they're all malternating. Mm-hmm. Third 10.
Yeah. Are we supposed to drink when you say that?
Every time I say malternating, you have to drink. So, I mean, if like, and that's kind of goes back to the original question you asked, was like, how much of this stuff you guys going to sell next year? It's like, it feels like we're kind of moving at warp speed. Mm-hmm. And it also feels like we're moving really slow at the same time. But I think that the category is developing with us and with these other brands. And I think that all retailers will probably have some answer. Like Wegmans, they're kind of spearheading a section for it. It's the number one question we get from the retailers when we were pitching them is, where should this go? Mm-hmm. And for us, the answer is right next to the non-alcoholic, because that's the same customer, because they're
I can't drink today. So. Well, here, I'll take a drink of water.
What is it? You have to hear something 7 times and then you got 2 more to go, Ryan.
I thought it was 2 actually, Craig.
Well,
just kidding.
The super cut that I'm going to make for this is going to be incredible.
It's crazy. No. And that's good stuff. But also, I wrote an article earlier this year on some of this stuff. And obviously you guys are at the forefront. So we mentioned that you guys are expanding and you have some heavy hitters of both both stripes or all stripes. I'll just say what you guys shared. You're expanding in Baltimore, North Carolina, Tennessee, South Carolina, maybe even more by now, but with Big Molson Coors distributors in a couple of AB houses, including some Reyes houses, what is now United Carolina, Chesapeake Beverage, and
Yep.
more. So, what are they seeing in this segment? I mean, clearly they see something here. What are they telling you?
They like the idea. They believe this rumor that we're
Yeah.
spreading.
This rumor.
No, I mean, I
I,
think they have the data, right? So they're seeing the non-alcoholic sales. We're kind of threading the needle with that stat about how many people that drink non-alcoholic are drinking alcohol. And then again, it all sort of points to this, it's like this Ouija board that we're all pointing at this space that we actually just dropped a product right into. Um, and so I think everyone sort of gets it, but like we inherit the burden of education, and that's the lion's share of our
Mm.
marketing spend is like education, introduction, drive awareness, drive trial. Um, so hopefully the people that come into those retailers believe the same way that the distributors do and that the retailers do.
I know we'll talk about the Shark Tank experience, but before that, since we're talking about distributors, what was it like having Robert sing y'all's praises up on stage at MBWA in front of pretty much every single distributor? What was the reaction like after that?
the timing was pretty incredible because that was right as spring reset conversations had really taken hold. And some of those distributors we had signed that week or we were in talks with. And, as Brian mentioned earlier, it's two dads and we have a lot of, you know, independent freelancers that help us kind of punch above our weight class, but we have our hands on just about everything. So some of these distributors we hadn't even met before. So their first real meeting of us was at that conference, and what an introduction. It was like getting a Dad Strength infomercial. It was pretty incredible. We were in the front row and up on the big screen. So it was very surreal. And then what's funny is we left Vegas like so many people do. Luckily no hangover because we flew out a ton of our beer, but it was that hangover of like we got to get back to work and we got to pull this future forward. So I would say that it was both exhilarating and then on the way to the airport kind of punched you in the face of like, yeah, it's
He,
time
he
to
also he also told a story about buying his dad a Cadillac, brought everyone to tears. So I think it was a very emotional. It was a very emotional
yeah.
day.
They connected with that emotion. But I have to wonder, especially with Beatbox being in the news, right? And they're kind of the Bevalk poster child for Shark Tank, right? When you guys were thinking about going on Shark Tank, was the thought ever, well, it's been good for Beatbox, right? Or did you come at it from a completely different angle?
We had talked about Shark Tank just kind of in passing as like because people will bring it up at tastings and stuff like that, and I think that the name of the product and the idea of the product just kind of it's like it feels like one of those kind of fun things, which is intentional. But yeah, I mean, I think Shark Tank, I think 10 out of 10 times you do it. It's a national institution, it's a cultural institution, great awareness for us. And I think there's almost no downside unless you're the guys that went on before us and started yelling at the
I
sharks.
didn't I didn't
You didn't
see
see the
that.
episode?
Yeah,
Okay, well,
it was
check out Hulu and then watch the one right before us.
yeah,
It's
it,
as cringe as the kids say.
Oh man.
it was pretty uncomfortable. And not just beatbox, I mean Poppy too, right? I
Yeah.
mean that was a Shark Tank thing. But I think so much of this comes down to like how do we tell the story uh, of two dads who were mixing beers in the same glass to create a lower strength that was right for them at that time in their life, and it was the perfect opportunity to do so on a national stage. And it's wild. We still do demos. I mean, Brian and I still are talking to customers every single weekend. We also have a demo team. We call it Dadbassadors, which are awesome that can help us tell the story at scale. But I'll be at tastings and people will come up to me and they'll mention that they found us by watching Shark Tank, and then they went to our website and used the beer finder and now they're customers. And it's pretty wild. So I would say 10 out of 10, you do it. and you need all the help you can when you're trying to build a category.
Yeah, absolutely. And then, I have to ask because you're talking about building the brand and building awareness. Usually in the bev alc industry, you a lot of times start in the on premise, right? But you guys are more focused on the off premise, correct? And no desire to do draft at this point. Am I right?
We piloted
Ooh.
draft early on.
Yep.
I think, I think, I think what's cool about this business and the opportunity is that in the longer term, certainly on-prem makes a lot of sense, and our product would work really well in draft. Our pilot was great. People loved it. I think being based in DC at this time, it was also like, these are smaller establishments. It was kind of hard to get a line in a lot of places. But yeah, we're almost reversing the polarity. And I think grocery is our best channel. And I think it's where you get the most opportunities to explain the story to people. And it's also been a great place for us to build social content. If you watch our social content, it's almost exclusively us in grocery stores telling this story to people. So yeah, I think social media is the disruptor that it used to be you build the brand on prem and then you build the business in off prem.
Mm-hmm.
And I think actually you build the business on social.
Okay. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
true. That's a great point. Yeah.
And we really discovered this with Whole Foods. They were the first big chain partner to take a leap of faith here. And we started doing a lot of tastings at Whole Foods. And we started thinking about the Whole Foods beer aisle as our tasting room. Some of these breweries can interact hand to hand. It was like, well, why don't we just use this? And we can have 200 interactions in 2 to 3 hours on a Friday night. And
Right.
we didn't have to
Yeah.
build the tasting room. It
Yeah.
was there. So it was perfect. But I think the thing with draft, and we've had some on-premise wins, but usually they have to hit a couple things. It's like one is if they have a spot on the menu that features ABV, and again, back to that low and no all out. And then we see a lot of our biggest wins are accounts where there's the occasion overlap. It's just like, well, we have a high happy hour, foot count. And it's like, well, this is a beer you can have two of at happy hour and, still make it, or our number one account in DC actually has a pinball league and they take it like super seriously. So these are people who are wanting to compete, but also crush a few beers and catch a buzz. But, for us, again, it goes back to that word of like discipline, mile deep, inch wide. And like, yeah, sometimes we get super excited, 100,000 cases, or yeah, we'll launch kegs, but we need to make sure that we do it right. We do it thoughtful. I will say the great thing is when we do have on-premise interactions now, they're totally different than they were in the summer of 2024 when we launched this thing. Now it's just like, I have people asking for low and no. I
Yeah.
have all these tap lines that we built during the craft beer boom. And it's like, I have 6 IPAs that aren't differentiated. It's just like, I need something differentiated by ABV. When are you guys going to bring drafts back? So we talk about it all the time. I think hazy is like the perfect beer to do it with because our IPA is a West Coast. It very much has a West Coast opinion. It ages Ryan and I, but we love that big hop bitterness. And the reality is not everyone wants that. So our hazy did a great job of rounding it out. It's very tropical, very fruit forward, and it's not bitter. And I think a lot of that intent was like, if there is a beer that's going to thrive in kegs on premise, it's hazy. So don't be surprised if we're trialing that in DC this spring.
Okay.
I just
Yeah.
wanted to ask about packaging real quick on your site. You can buy 6, 12, and 24. I don't know if you have all three of those pack sizes, at off premise, but what are you seeing become your most popular pack size? And do you see opportunity in single serve packaging? I know you're talking about kind of on premise is a place you're moving, but you think about venues and stuff, and it seems like that's the type of beer you would want
Mhm.
and nurse and feel comfortable, getting back home.
I mean, I think all those are opportunities. We probably dig into the data a little bit. I wanted to create one. You remember those old Fosters, like the giant
Yeah.
Oil
Yeah,
cans.
Oil
the
can.
oil can.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean, that'd be fun, right? And it's like, this is one beer. But yeah, I mean, I
Yeah.
think I also wanted to do things that are illegal, which has been a kind of a historic track record in my life. But I wanted to be the first beer sold after the seventh inning, you
Yeah.
know, things like that, where it's like, yeah, that's what's cool about moderation is that there's more opportunities to do it. Um, but you're talking about different form factor, different channels. We're going into convenience, et cetera. And places like Trader Joe's and some Whole Foods and some Wegmans, they'll let you build your own beer and you can grab a 6 or a 12 ounce and mix it that way. I think we're focused right now on a little bit more telling the story from beginning
Yeah.
to end,
Yeah.
rather than like, it kind of goes back to that like first question about how many beers can you sell. It's like, well, I think we need to stay disciplined.
Yeah.
It's our job to tell the story of this category. It's our job to tell the story of dad strength. It's our job to explain why moderation is a beautiful thing. And I think keeping that really simple is a tremendous advantage for us. We sell 6 packs of these 3 SKUs. We have 1 rotating SKU seasonally, and you have to tell the story. I think we touched on this earlier. I think 7 times you have to say something. So it's the same at the brand level, where it's like, I think we need to repeat ourselves quite a lot before it really starts to take hold and before we overexpand or before we get a little distracted in on-premise versus off-premise or 12-pack versus 6-pack. So I think those things will naturally extend from this if we do our job to tell the dad strength story very clearly and consistently. Then I think we'll have a little bit opportunity to expand into those places.
Yeah. And I think 6-pack, it's funny too, in this business, you look at form factors and then you look at the volume you need to do to get the next price break, right? So like right now we're moving into a direct print can, which is huge for us, but you order those by the truckload versus before we were doing digital print. And then our next big move here for mandate season is you'll see us in the cardboard boxes. So Ryan had worked with a designer that he had previously in his ad agency days and just absolutely crushed the design. And like our number one ask from some of our chain partners is like, hey, I put you on feature, but I can't build displays with you. And it's just like, oh,
Yeah.
that makes total sense. So I think, to Ryan's point, it's just like, keep the main thing right now. It's 6 packs of those 3 core SKUs. We are doing product development. We'll run tests and learn. But at the end of the day, it's like we have to do right by the chains that took a shot on us with this mandate and continue to prove like when we execute our plan, it works. And then we'll go from there.
I think you guys need to have a mid-strength festival. I bet you've already thought of this, right? Like everybody come, have fun, but not too much fun because we're all going to wake up in the morning and do yoga.
Who would headline? You'd have to have some like mid-strength band.
Well, so the problem is, I was thinking like, what's his Dave Matthews, but I think he might be a little more on the stoner side. He does have a
Yeah.
line. I don't know.
That's true. Yeah. I think that's the right basic idea. Or like, it could be just like anyone from the 90s because we're all kind of old and that was like our era, or the early 2000s.
Yeah.
We could support a reunion of one. I said One Direction, but it's not One Direction.
I
Nick
think it is
Lachey.
one. Oh no, they're very
98
never
degrees.
mind.
Yeah.
98 degrees. That's the one.
And we need to
98
do it
degrees.
as well along with
94 calories.
we joked about how a half marathon would be like the perfect as well. It's like
Yeah.
Yeah.
so
Half Iron
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah.
Half anything.
half everything. Yeah.
Dads wear half shirts.
Ooh.
Belly
It's half
shirts or
fast.
sleeves?
Ooh, I don't
all are
know.
welcome here.
Yeah. It's very inclusive.
Sounds like it's going to be a wild party.
All dads. Yeah. It sounds pretty cool, you guys. You could have it at a grocery store too, right? Like
Oh, there's definitely. I mean, we want to do American Daddy-ators. It's like it's an event where it's like, how many bags can you grab from the back of your car and get them into the house like the fastest? Like, there's a lot. I
Great.
mean,
There's a lot you can do.
It's
the
great.
dad shoe. I mean, every day that we
Yeah.
don't have a New Balance sneaker in dad strength colors is a lost opportunity. There's a lot of marketing uh, fun that we can have, and I think it
The
comes with the discipline of sticking to the story.
Yeah.
the signal you'll see when you know that Dad Strength is doing well is when we do our home urinal giveaway, and we'll come in and
Yeah,
it'll be like a fix up the whole room and leave with this beautiful urinal. So stay tuned.
yeah. We're gonna do garage makeovers, and it comes with a home urinal,
It's
which I
awesome.
desperately need to use right now.
Well, on that note, my last question, forgive me for not knowing this, but do you guys contract produce or do you brew it yourselves?
Like us too.
Both.
Yeah. Do you brew? No. Do you
I don't
produce
do
it in house or do you guys do contract brew?
both.
Okay.
Yeah. And we have this amazing brewer. His name's Daniel Villaruby, and he's Ryan and I are the beer lovers. He's the beer nerd, but World Beer Cup gold medal winner, like super fun to work with. But it takes a long time, and luckily he's patient with us because it's just pilot after pilot to get it exactly how we want it. But yeah, we launched in DC with him as the head brewer, and Atlas Brew Works is our partner on it. So, they're actually in this whole thing with us. And then we have another place that's helped us scale up as well.
Awesome.
Yeah, my brewing experience kind of was like began and ended with mixing Heineken and Heineken not non-alcoholic when I was malternating.
It worked out.
There we go. Perfect. Perfect way to end the show. Unless you have another question, Jay.
I have a question for you all. Have you all had Dad String? Because we gotta ship you some.
I've had some, and I can
Okay.
tell you, I had many
I have
during
not yet.
football games. Yeah, so it's a perfect sessionable
Where
pounder.
are you?
Texas.
Yeah.
Hey,
San Antonio.
all right.
Yeah,
Jensen, Austin.
Right on. I was in Austin when we launched this thing, but we do ship now to 44 states, so we can
Oh.
get you some, and Texas is one of those states. Have you tried the Juicy IPA?
yes.
Oh, amazing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it's
Well,
already
yeah,
probably 100 degrees in Texas already,
Yeah.
so
It's going to be 80
Yeah.
this weekend. But,
that's
you
too
know,
hot.
yeah,
Too
shoot
hot.
me shoot me good addresses for the team. Just direct, and we'll get it out. And then Hazy, first production batch, we'll get some beer in the mail to y'all. Look forward to y'all trying it.
Sweet.
Awesome.
Thank
Thank
y'all.
Absolutely.
We love that. Thank y'all so much, and a great intel. And we'll have you on again in 6 months when we're putting the finishing touches on that fest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sounds
I
great.
love it. We started a Notion doc and took a lot of notes. So we'll
Perfect. Send it
be
over
in
to
touch.
us.
Yeah.
Please.
We want to get your cosign on that.
All right.
All right. This is
Thanks,
great.
yeah.
Guys.
Guys,
Thank
appreciate
you.
it.
Thank
See
you.
ya.